have been well trained.
No.
You don't have to carry a sword to be powerful.
I won't fail you.
Oh, do not.
I'm not afraid.
There is no try.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Chance Cube coverage of the 2018 World Championship of Star Wars Destiny. My name is Todd. In this video, we're going to be watching the top 8 battle between Brendan DeVitt and Joe. Brendan on the right, Joe on the left. Joe running from the Hyperloops, the drive-by shooting deck, eYoda eEzra rookie pilot. And on the right, Brendan is running eSabine eEzra. I definitely know Joe is going to have a lot of experience against eSabine eEzra since his counterpart Mike Gem is running that same deck. So it looks like we roll out, we get a 1 on Joe's side of the board. Brendan rolls a 5 and he takes his battlefield, the Weapons Factory Alpha, not exactly something that he can do a lot with. So Joe's going to be starting with a couple shields. He puts 1 on eEzra, 1 on eYoda, the characters that he really is trying to hang on to in this matchup. So we see Brendan. He goes to roll out eEzra, but we'll see what he decides to do. So he may have changed his mind, or something may have happened there. They may have said not to start yet. That's definitely a possibility. But they had a nice little laugh about it. And so there, that's what I love about Destiny as well, is that a lot of the people are just a lot of fun to play with and enjoy the game, and it is great to work with people. So, like I said, the Weapons Factory Alpha was Joe's battlefield. Obviously, he's running the vehicles and a few guns deck, but Brendan is running the Outer Rim Outpost, my personal favorite. To get a resource and draw a card. So this is a very similar starting point to what we've seen before as far as a eSabine eEzra deck. As a matter of fact, we saw Mike Gem in the previous battle doing something very similar. So I'm sure the decks, eSabine eEzra decks, are very similar to each other because you basically want all the ambush weapons. You want second chances, and you want running interferences, you want Maz's vaults. So right there's half of your deck. So we know that at least half the cards in Brendan's deck are going to be things that we are aware of and know a lot about. We get an activation on eEzra. He gets 3 damage right off the bat. We see the overconfidence play coming right off. And so we leave the +2 out and get rid of a disrupt. So he no longer has the base damage, but that's okay. Looks like Brendan probably discarding to reroll 0, I think. Yep, sure enough, we get activation of eEzra. If eEzra can steal those resources, it can really put eSabine back. But unfortunately, he does only get a disrupt and a blank. So, no specials for you. He activates eSabine, gets the X8 Sniper. Remember to get that die. I made a few mistakes just in my most recent game with not getting my die out. Silly me. eSabine rolls in, decides not to do eSabine things. She wants to shield up a little bit, get a resource, and then he disrupts the last resource of Joe's. Now, if you can prevent the resources from getting out, it can prevent him from getting the rally aids out, which are guaranteed 2-cost vehicles each round, pretty much. When you have an extremely experienced player like Joe, here we are at the top 8 of the World Championship for this game. When you have players of that caliber, those rally aids are 100% going to happen. So we do see reroll. Looks like we got the 2 range shield and 1 range on eEzra. So we've got a little bit of damage coming through and a little bit of shielding up. So we're going to have to see what happens. I do see the T-47 airspeeder in Joe's hand. So he really wants to get those resources. He could turn eYoda to the special and then to the resource on eEzra. He needs that resource to get that rally aid out. He also has a DH-17. So he has a DH-17 in his... I guess that was a 3 damage on Sabine's die. He really wants to get the Rally 8 out, then get the T-47 airspeeder, and he probably wants to see if he can get that DH-17, possibly on the rookie pilot, and maybe override it for a holdout blaster later. So we see the shield being taken. Oh, I love those little Stormtrooper tokens. Those are so cool. I've seen those things in person, and man, they are so much fun. I wonder if he has the one that has the fin stripes. It's got 3 red stripes on it. It's pretty cool. Anyway, those are really fun. And I did forget to mention Joe's running some pretty cool tokens too. These are 2-part tokens that are really neat. They actually can combine together to exemplify different things. I've seen some people keep one half separate and one half separate and then put them together to signify that they have the 3 shields. I don't know if that's the best idea personally, but that's me. That's once again me personally. So we did get the DH-17 on the rookie pilot. He rolled it out. Got the 2-for-1 already on the DH-17, which is not bad. And then a resource on the rookie pilot. That resource can come in clutch. We can do some focusing with eYoda, get a resource. He could even focus the rookie pilot to the +2, but that's going to mean he's not going to get his Rally 8 and T-47 out this round. So I'm thinking he takes the resource and he turns eEzra's die probably to the other resource. No. He wants to keep that money. He does not want to pay for the damage on the DH-17. So he turns the DH-17 to the range damage. Then he plays the Rally Aid. Then he's going to Caution. Ooh, perfect. What a great hand to start with. He's able to Caution. He puts the 3 shields on eEzra. Wait, what? What die did he remove? Oh, he removed the rookie pilot die? Ooh, wow. He is way more experienced with this deck, so I'm going to trust him on this one. But I would have imagined, no, that's fine. That's fine. Interesting that he, okay, so he Rally Aids the T-47, gets that out. Possibly, I guess if he gets the special, he could draw a couple extra cards. You know what? He's waiting on the eEzra for Brendan to claim. Oh, no, he's got the... Did he claim? I think he already claimed, so he has the resource, so he can disrupt the resource. So saving eEzra to disrupt the resource from Sabine will prevent her from getting the 3 resources to do the really crazy stuff like hyperspace jump or Never Tell Me the Odds. So he resolves the discard on the T-47 airspeeder. Looks like it was a second chance. Whoa, what a pull. Whoa, that is... Wow, that's huge. So we take away that 1 shield that was on Sabine. We discard the 1 resource. So while no damage went through to Brendan's side of the board, Joe is still getting set up. He's got 2 supports out, a Rally 8 and T-47. He's got a gun on his rookie pilot. He had 3 damage come through on eEzra, but he's got 3 shields back. So kind of zeroed out the damage there. Not a lot of unblockableness that Sabine and eEzra can do. So he's rearranging his board state just to make it a little cleaner, a little bit more obvious on what is out on the board, what is used. Keeping a clean board state, while it's not 100% needful, I think it is a skill in a lot of ways. Making sure that your opponent is aware of exactly what you have, how many resources you have, how many shields you have, what characters have which upgrades, which supports are active. We see an easy pickings on both of the eEzra dice, just removing a couple of 1 range damage. One thing I have learned is that when you have easy pickings and you have the opportunity to use it, just go ahead and use it. You never know what your opponent may have planned. Unfortunately, this does mean that he is down a resource on Brendan's side, and so that means he's either going to need to try to get a resource off eEzra's die or overwrite that X8 sniper in order to get his ambush action. We see eYoda roll in, and he gets a special and a shield. I've heard a lot of things about eYoda and his dice and whether or not, wow, eEzra rolling in and doing some work. I've heard a lot about eYoda's special, that you really don't want a special chain from eYoda special to eYoda special because you're really losing some of that. So in this particular instance right now, unless you wanted a couple of resource and a shield, there wouldn't be any reason to do that. Unless he wants 2 shields and a resource, then he can actually keep the dice he have, although it is a little faster. Alright, so he overwrites the DL-44 onto the X8 sniper, rolls that out and hits some damage on Sabine. And with the ambush action, he's going to do the things. He's going to do 4 extra damage. He's going to be able to get 1 more damage through the shields onto eEzra. While Caution is extremely powerful, you can only do it a couple times. Unless, of course, you are running Return of the Jedi, which not a lot of people do, but I'm thinking that might change with the way of the Force coming out. There are a lot of blue events that are going to be super powerful. I can think of one, Luke's Training, is going to be a recurable event that you may want to get more than one of. All right, so Brendan gets the shield. He takes the shield on the Sabine die. Not the best use of the Sabine die, but when you roll it, you got to take what you get. We get the double blanks. Oh, triple blanks on the rookie pilot DH-17 and the T-47. Oof. Luckily, he's playing against a hero deck, so there is no feel your anger, because he would be feeling some major anger right now if that was the case. But we're seeing a lot of blanks on the board. You know what? Dice are dice, and you see all the different sides of the dice at one point or another. So when we see this many blanks, we know that, hey, don't worry, good rolls are just a couple steps away. So we do see him scruffy-looking Nerf herder. Sorry about the sound. We see him scruffy-looking Nerf herder to see what's in his hand. I think he did say event, and he got rid of the Loath Cat. We do see the hasty exit and the into the garbage chute. Obviously, into the garbage chute is not going to be used this round, but it can be used in the future. Hasty exit still on board, though. The Loath Cat is interesting because you don't really want to lose your dice, and he obviously was keeping the DH-17 out there for that reason, but he doesn't want to re-roll it either. We re-roll into 4 damage. That rookie pilot doing some work today, getting the +2 on the range, and he's got the 2-for-1 on the DH-17. We're going to hasty exit the base damage. No. Ooh, we hasty exit the modifier. Very interesting. So he's definitely, obviously he understands that there are no resources right now on Joe's side of the board, so that means that he could be in trouble. And resolving the 2-for-1 on the DH-17 this early in the game can be pretty difficult. Round 2, you really don't want to be paying for a 2-side. Paying for a 3-side is a different story, but a 2-side, the value of your resources is a little bit greater than the 2. So he's going to take a resource. I wonder if he's going to turn the T-47 airspeeder to the range side, maybe. So he does put a shield on eEzra and take a resource, so he doesn't turn a die. Man, Joe is just a pro at this. He can see 5, 6, 7, 20 moves ahead. So it looks like we're going to have Brendan claim, get a resource, and draw a card. We're going to rally aid. He's got 2 cards. One of them is a vehicle. One of them is not. Ooh, and he gets the Force Illusion. Now, interesting with rally aid. Rally aid is still good for the reason that even if you miss on a vehicle, you can still hit on any other card. You can actually play any card with Rally Aid. I actually, as a trick, included Rally Aid in a deck that had no vehicles and would Rally Aid to just get an extra resource each round. While it wasn't the most efficient use of Rally Aid, it was kind of like a mini It Binds All Things for whatever the heck is in your hand. So if you end up with Rally Aid and It Binds All Things in a deck, you could technically Rally Aid some pretty big weapons out for free. So we're going to start the next round. We've got a couple shields on eEzra, but he's got 4 damage, so he's 5 away from death. But eYoda and the rookie pilot, full health. On the Sabine eEzra side of the board, of course, though, we've only got 1 damage that's gone through on Sabine, and other than that, we are at full health. So Joe, however, is working up his board state. I think he was happy with either one of the cards that he had in his hand, either the Force Illusion, or I think I saw the Fang Fighter was what he had as well. So he had the resource to be able to play the Fang Fighter if he needed to, and then roll it out and resolve it. Or if he got the Force Illusion, he could then resolve the DH-17, which was on the 2-for-1. So it's a good way to go. We see the running interference go down on the Sabine eEzra side. Then we see Sabine activation. overwriting. Oh, he's got those cool tokens too. Hey, I think Joe just noticed that. I think those are the tokens from the Hyperloops, the overwrite tokens. So he's pretty excited that Brendan is running those. He's not going to be as excited when that damage comes right at his face, but it's not a lot, not a ton. So I'm always a little bit frustrated myself whenever I see those upgrades that have 3 damage sides and they just can't seem to roll them. I run Darth Maul in a deck that runs nothing but upgrades that have 3 damage sides, and he just can't seem to roll those damage sides a little more than half the time, in my personal opinion. So it looks like we saw an activation, the overwrite, and then we have the Never Tell Me the Odds running interference. He cannot play a card. That 8 damage is going to go straight through onto somebody. We just don't know who yet. So eEzra could take the 5 to the face and get knocked out, but he does have the Force Illusion. So he would definitely Force Illusion if he had the ability. Brendan is... Oh, he activates the Rally Aid. If he happens to get a removal piece, he can still play it because Rally Aid gets over that, I believe. I think Rally Aid does actually... Yeah, I think Rally Aid bypasses that because he's using a card action. So he draws it. It is a field medic. He heals 2 damage. He heals 2 damage off of eEzra, which is definitely taking him out of lethal range. But I think, yep, the right choice, in my opinion, was definitely the rookie pilot. Just get him off the board. Get that DH-17 off, which has been doing some work. He's been getting some damage off of that, so get rid of that. All right, we see the Friends in Low Places. We have the Into the Garbage Chute, Vandalize, Entangle, and Hyperspace Jump. So the Vandalize or the Into the Garbage Chute. I think Into the Garbage Chute is the one he's probably going to take. Ooh, but Vandalize can get rid of his Force Illusion. I don't think he wants to let go of that. Let's see what he does. Obviously, he's thinking very hard about this as well. I think if he takes... All right, so Into the Garbage Chute, I believe, is the one he ended up choosing. So we still have the Vandalize that can get rid of his Force Illusion. I see another scruffy-looking Nerf herder in his hand, so he could play the Scruffy. If I were Brendan, I would absolutely get rid of that Force Illusion as soon as possible. But then again, I am not at the World Championship, so that's that's up to him. All right. So we activate the eEzra, we get the range and the resource. We activate the T-47. Brendan, I believe, is passing. He took a resource. Yep, he took the resource, and he ends up vandalizing the Force Illusion away. Force Illusion, saving your character up to 3 damage, can be pretty massive. We see the Yoda finally roll in. He does get the special, so he is going to have the ability to possibly steal a resource from Brendan off of the eEzra special. But then again, I've been a little bit off on Joe's plays and play style. Vehicle deck is definitely something I need a lot more practice with, and I do not currently have. Sorry if you heard some ice drop out of my ice maker there. Have you ever have that when it's late at night and you're just sitting there and all of a sudden, clink, you got some ice fall on the floor that melted just enough to fit through the ice maker that got stuck somewhere? Whew, it was a little scary. Nobody else should be awake right now. Alrighty, so Joe's trying to decide what to do. Alright, so he does start the special chaining. He does turn Yoda to the 2 focus. I'm going to be honest, the 2 focus for Yoda is bonkers good. So that also gives him the 3 resources so he can play that Fang Fighter that we saw in his hand last round. Alright, gets the Fang Fighter with the ambush action. He rolls it in, hits the 1 discard. Brendan having a couple cards in his hand. We know the 1 second chance was already discarded at the very beginning of the game. If Brendan can possibly get another one of those, that'd be pretty boss. Alright, so we're going to discard 3 of his dice. We're going to discard. We're going to reroll the Fang Fighter, the T-47, and one of eEzra's dice, and he gets damage. Ladies and gentlemen, we have damage. So we've got 9 damage has gone through already onto Joe's side of the board. Brendan still only has 1 damage on all of his characters, but the board state of Joe is definitely going to be ramping very heavily, very quickly. So Let's see what he decides to do. He does have the 2 focus still. So he could double focus to both of the eEzra specials, and I think that means he's got 8 to 9 damage sitting out there. And sure enough, Brendan has no removal. He is going to do... I think that was 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Sabine, having 1 damage at the beginning of the last round, ends the round with 10 damage. She has 1 health left. If there's any way for Joe to sneak out a damage before Sabine can activate, that's definitely what he wants to do. Now Sabine is going to be able to have those extra resources. He was able to claim, get the resource, so he has the 3 for second chance, just in case. Let's see what he decides to do. Alright. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when Yoda comes for you? Fang fighter, fang fighter. Okay. Get the Sabine activation. We've got a 3 damage showing and a resource. Alright, we're gonna pay 3 for hyperspace jump. What? Well, that was interesting. Okay. Okay. Brendan really not wanting... looks like he was trying to hyperspace jump so that he could still get the activation at the beginning of the next round. He really wants that massive roll on Sabine. It's possible that he will try to overwrite something, but I really... try to do something with Sabine, but I really think he needs to keep overriding. He needs those resources. Looks like he's got easy pickings and... possibly some other mitigation in his hand, so he really wants those resources for that. Possibly rolling out eEzra to get a little bit more resource generation. Sure enough, he can get another resource. So I see a Friends in Low Places over on Joe's side of the board. I think I see a Holdout Blaster there as well. Oh man, I am my eyes just aren't as good as they should be. DH17 was in there as well. Friends in Low Places, so we've got Truce, a Hasty Exit, Entangle, Loth Cat and Mouse. Wow, nothing but mitigation in his hand. Whew. So Joe's got to pick which one of those he thinks is going to be the most damaging to him. He doesn't have a lot of duplicate sides, so the easy pickings could be good. But Loth Cat forces one of his dice to be removed, which can still be good. But now that Joe knows easy pickings is in his hand, he could always try to play around that by focusing with Yoda's die into non-matching sides. He's really thinking about that Loth Cat and Mouse, or Loth Cat and Mouse, or Lith Cat and Mouse. Sorry, I never know what it is. All right, so he leaves the easy picking, so he's going to need to remember to avoid that because he does have a lot of 2 range damage sides. And then if Yoda rolls the double specials or the double focuses, he's going to really be in sad shape. So he does steal a resource, making sure to remind Joe to remove his. See, when my wife and I play, whenever we steal resources from each other, we literally take the resource from them and put it in our pile because we're playing with the same set of resources. DH17 goes down on Yoda, so no more resources on Joe's side of the board. But let's see, he may have another 2-cost support that he may be able to get out. Or, oh, you know, I think I may have seen eYoda. He is shuffling through those a little quick for me. We already know what Brendan has in his hand, so we know that he doesn't have anything he needs to do right now. He does have the 3 resources, so I think theoretically he could, he could play another card onto Sabine. So he's really considering whether he can. The problem is that on Sabine, 2 of those die sides would have had resource costs. So he does just overwrite. He wants to save those resources. He switches out the DL44 for the X8 Sniper again. A little bit of a net resource loss there, but then he rolls out and he gets a little bit of damage, but not quite enough. We see 2 damage going through onto eEzra, but all absorbed into shields. Joe doing a very good job of staying defensive in this game. We'll have to kind of see if he's able to keep that going. But I have no doubt that he has played this game many times, knows his deck inside and out, and knows exactly what he needs to do. We have not seen him even looking through his upgrades, or sorry, his discard pile to see what may still be in his deck. It's like he's able to keep track or something. A little bit better than I. All right, so Sabine's still dangerously sitting with only 1 health remaining, but no damage yet being rolled out on Joe's side of the board. However, if he can carefully roll out and get a little bit of damage here, a little bit of damage there, he's going to be in great shape. If he resolves it all one at a time, then he's going to make sure to avoid the easy pickings as well. So he could roll out the T-47 airspeeder. If it had rolled damage, he could have resolved that right away, knowing that his opponent really, I think he still has a hasty exit, yes? I'm not sure. So he is going to pay the 1 resource to focus the X8 sniper, which I think is such an amazing ability. He does change it to the 3-for-1 side, and I believe the reason he's doing that is because he really doesn't want to turn to the modifier and then lose the modifier. So he plays out, all right, so he does rally aid for an R2-D2. I was right! Yes! I'm not completely blind yet. All right, so there we go. We get enough damage to kill the eEzra, so turning off easy pickings for Joe if he runs that in there. I have heard of some people who run eEzra or another small health yellow character, and hearing about them actually not running easy pickings because your opponent assumes that you're going to have a lot of spot yellow stuff, and you just remove that and you're in really good shape. So here we go. We could see a eYoda activation or possibly an R2 activation. eYoda activating. We do still have easy pickings online on Brendan's side of the board. I see 2 shields on the board. He could very easily easy pickings those. So he does take a second resource. He does not easy pickings the 2 shield sides. Not the best sides to remove, but the dice, the T-47 and the eYoda die, definitely good dice in my personal opinion. My very humble, uneducated personal opinion. All right. Let's see. Joe's trying to make a decision on what to do. This is a very difficult thing, or I think it may actually be. Yeah, it is Joe's turn. Brendan took the resource, so Joe's trying to decide what to do. Let's see if we can catch a glimpse of what he may have in his hand. You know, he's sliding those around really good. Wow, I'm a little bit mesmerized by it. If you just stare at it while he moves those, man, they're mesmerizing. I saw a very interesting magic trick done on, if you've ever looked up Penn and Teller, they're magicians. But I watched a video of theirs where a guy was dealing cards, and you could not tell where he was dealing the cards from. It was pretty amazing. We do see the easy pickings, and he's probably going to remove, yep, the vehicle dice. What are the odds of hitting the shields on both of those? Joe definitely saw that coming. I have no doubt in my mind. Now all he has to do is focus the DH-17 to the... Yep, so he had 2. So it looks like he accidentally discarded 2 resources to pay for the easy pickings. He thought he had forgotten to pay for the card. He did not forget. He removed the resource anyway, but Joe reminded him, hey, you had 2 resources before you played the easy picking, so you still have 1. That was very honest of him, which I will definitely give him props for. Letting your opponent know. And keeping track of your opponent's board state as well as your own is very difficult, so props to Joe for being able to be aware of that. All right, so now we've got a 2 focus. We've got the DH-17 in play. We've got R2-D2 still yet to roll out. I've already forgotten what's left in Brendan's hand. I can only imagine how hard it must be for some of these characters to keep track of so many things. So we see the focus to the 1 melee and the 1 gun. Yeah, he does only have 1 resource remaining. Joe only has 1 more resource, so spending that resource to just do an extra 2 damage, and sure enough, he did have the removal. But then he's able to just go ahead and do the 1 damage on whatever die is remaining. And Sabine is gone from the game. Now, this is not a death knell for Brendan's side of the board. We've seen Mike Gem come back and do some amazing things only with an eEzra die and the incredible suite of removal that is the Sabine eEzra deck. Yellow always seems to have all the best removal, don't they? Yellow hero, yellow villain. They've got the best and most bonkers stuff, don't they? For sure. So we're going into the next round. eEzra now having 4 resources, so he can afford to play some pretty big guns. All right, Hidden Blaster getting to remove the shield on eYoda. 10 health to get through, eEzra. You can do it. You can get 5 health, 5 damage around if you're trying. All right, he's not trying as hard as we would hope, but he's got the 2 damage out there, and he's got the resource stealing. Resource stealing can be very potent against a vehicle deck, but it looks like he's going to preemptively spend all of his resources to get out a second Fang Fighter. I did see another support in Joe's hand, so he can still rally aid yet another. So Joe definitely has the ability to do some wicked stuff today. All right, we're hitting some damage. Brendan, what are you going to do? It's a rough one. No more resources to steal, so 2 of his dice are basically showing blanks at this moment. So he does discard to reroll. He is trying to get... He's only got 2 more... Oh, base damage sides, but he gets it. He's got it. I think I see a flank in Joe's hand. Don't know if he's going to do it. Yep, sure enough, he's going to rally aid to see if he can get one of his removal pieces out so he doesn't have to pay for it because he is out of resources. He's just kind of hoping and praying, but you know what? People get lucky sometimes. He flips it over. He gets the... Force Wave. Not ideal against a eSabine eEzra. Now, Rally Aid does not force you to play the card. If you can't play it or decide you do not want to play it, then it does just go back into your hand. It does not discard it. So that's kind of nice. So we see 3 damage go through to eYoda. We see 3 damage go through onto eEzra. We see a single shield. We see a pass. eYoda activates, gets the 2-for-1, a special, and a shield. So that could very well be a dead eYoda. Oh, sorry, a dead eEzra. We're going to entangle the eYoda and the 2 range on the DH-17. So we roll out the Fang Fighter, rolls the blank. So eEzra feeling a little bit safe right now, but not completely for sure. He may want to try to discard and reroll the eEzra die, but unfortunately at this point only 3 of his 6 sides are even useful. We see the R2-D2 rolling out and getting the special, which means he can special chain to eYoda, who can then special chain to somebody else, or he can re-roll, possibly get another eYoda special, get 2 eYoda specials, get a eYoda special and an R2-D2 special, and let's see what he does. Oh my goodness, he just rolls all of the stuff, all of the things, and Brendan concedes the round, scoops, and we get ready for round 2. This is a best of 3, so if you're still hanging on there, if you can hang on just for a little while longer, we still got quite a bit of time left in this battle. So this was pre-recorded, and I am recording this a couple weeks after the World Championship. So I am aware of how the games go and how everything ended up turning out for the tournament. But I got to tell you, these games and seeing the choices that some of these players make is really amazing. Not only that, but watching some of the plays that these really top-tier players make can really help you in your own games. Even if you're not playing these particular characters or these particular decks, seeing the lines of thought and the lines of play that people have can really help you to play your own decks and games. I highly recommend watching as many of these gameplay videos as you can, especially when they have such sultry, smooth commentary and voices like myself. Alrighty, everybody. So we're getting ready for the next round. Now, because Brendan did lose the previous game, he does have the option to choose the battlefield. I don't anticipate him choosing Weapons Factory Alpha, just giving Joe that extra ability to get the battlefield and get 1 extra resource at the beginning of the game. It's Weapons Factory Alpha for vehicle decks is like a Profitable Connections for any other deck. It's basically a guaranteed resource. So each of these players is shuffling their decks and then handing it to their opponents to allow them to cut. I have heard an interesting suggestion. Now, we don't have a huge problem with this, but I know in other games there can be problems, and there have been problems in the past, with people stacking the decks. And what was suggested, people cheating when they shuffle. And so what I have heard suggested is that when your opponent offers to their deck for you to cut, just give it a quick shuffle as well. And that would prevent any stacking from happening that they may have been able to do during their shuffle. And if you've watched any magicians, I guarantee you that you would definitely wonder sometimes if people were able to stack their decks. I once saw a blind magician able to stack a deck completely in order. It was ridiculous, and after watching that and hearing the suggestion to shuffle your opponent's deck, I don't think I'll ever not shuffle my opponent's deck again. It was that impactful to me. But again, I believe that suggestion actually came from Hyperloops, some Hyperloops content from before. Joe deciding, I think, how many cards he's going to mulligan for the beginning of the round. Looks like he kept 2. He's still debating if he really wants to throw back a 4th card to mulligan. Brendan looks like he is also mulliganing 3. Now there are a little bit of mind games that you could play when cutting your opponent's deck or shuffling it up. Obviously, you don't want to play too many mind games. This is friendly. We like being friendly. Okay, so it looks like Joe actually only mulliganed 2 cards. There was a third one hidden there. His pink sleeves were really messing me over. I personally like green sleeves because I'm a musician and green sleeves sounds funny to me. If anybody gets that joke, congratulations, you are a winner. What did you win? My eternal admiration and respect for you remembering that reference. All right, so Brendan and Joe both getting their decks, their final mulligans ready to go. They are only about a little over 30 minutes into their rounds, so that means that they do still have the option, if it goes to a third game, to be able to... they still have plenty of time to do that, I think. So eEzra rolls out first, gets a resource and a +2. I am amazed at how many times eEzra can roll those exact same sides so frequently, especially on Brendan's side of the table. And I'll tell you what, sometimes eEzra likes his sides. All right, and then Joe rolls out, and he gets the Disrupt and the +2. So eYoda could take the resource, but then the other eEzra would just disrupt it. It's kind of a wash there, but both of them rolling the +2, which both of them want to see. The only problem on Joe's side of the board is that the only base damage right now are on eEzra. So that +2 really needs the +1 to be able to work. All right, we see a truce, both players getting a resource, and then Brendan having an ambush action. He plays 3 for a DL44. He sees the Disrupt on Joe's side of the board. What does he decide to do? Oh, okay. So the DL44 forces your opponent to remove one of their dice. Now, Brendan does not have the ambush action that we usually see from Sabine, but he didn't really need it because he just rolled 3 for 1s. 3 disrupts for 1. We see the Rally Aid coming down, and he's still got 2 resources on top of the Rally Aid. This is going to be a very money-filled battle for Joe. On Sabine eEzra's side of the board, he did not get that ambush action, but he did make sure that he didn't lose the resource to the eEzra Disrupt. So with the DL44 being played on Sabine, it forces Joe to remove one of his dice. He does remove the Disrupt since it is no longer valid or no longer useful. He does claim Brendan claims a resource. We see a scruffy-looking nerf herder from Joe. And what does he call? Did he call event or support or upgrade? He may not have called any of those things, but I'm guessing he probably called event. But now he knows he's going to have the running interference. Now, the scruffy-looking nerf herder does 2 things. It allows you to call a card and potentially discard a card from your opponent's hand. He does discard the easy pickings, so he did say event. So scruffy-looking nerf herder lets you discard a card from your opponent's hand, whether it be a support, upgrade, or event. And then it also gives you information. It lets you know what is in your opponent's hand. I personally think it's not quite as good as like Friends in Low Places, if you want to remove an event, but it still can be quite good. We see the flank on the Sabine range damage, so that's going to be painful, but the DL44 showing the 3 for 1 and the +2, so we get 5 damage coming through onto eEzra. I think 4 of it is going to actually make contact, so eEzra sitting at 3 health left. Definitely 3 damage is easily something that Sabine eEzra can do. Roll out eYoda, get the special and the shield. While Yoda can be extremely consistent with his specials and his focus sides, it's the other sides of his dice that you really struggle sometimes when you see. So, for instance, we see the shield side here, but his special is also a shield side if you want it. I think most people just like the consistency that his dice have to be able to chain into each other. Sure enough, he does chain the Yoda specials. Now, there's another card that actually can also chain specials as well in Blue Hero. Actually, I think it might be Blue Hero. It might be neutral, but I'm not sure. It's Force Focus. It's a 2-cost upgrade. It does have 2 specials. And then it's actually more of an eYoda die, where you can change one of your dice to any side. And then if you reveal a blue card from your hand, you can change one of your opponent's die to any side. I personally think it's a great card, but it is a little expensive for the 2-cost. So we'll kind of have to see if there's any way to mitigate that or make it a little better later on. Oh, we see the Fang Fighter on the Rally Aid. Rally Aid is such a powerful card. If you're able to get a vehicle out the first time you use it, it's a net of 1 resource and an action. So it's pretty powerful. And then, of course, Rally Aid tells you to play the card, so he does get an ambush action. He was able to roll out the Fang Fighter. I think, yep, looks like Brendan claims he does not have any more mitigation. All right, we see 4 or 5 come through. Let's go ahead and see how many that was. Brendan puts out 3, 4 damage. So he was able to, with the eEzra +2 and the Fang Fighter 2, to be able to do an extra 4 damage in the beginning round. Right now, the damage being evenly split between both sides. Ooh, this is going to be a fight for sure. We got the Force Illusion back on the eEzra. Brendan really trying to turn off those spot yellow character cards like Easy Pickings. I believe Entangle might actually be a spotty yellow character as well. Okay, we see an overwrite of a second chance onto Sabine. That is an interesting play. So Joe looks through his discard, Brendan's discard pile. He does see the DL-44 is in there. I don't think there are any other weapons in there. We see the Friends in Low Places to be able to look at his opponent's hand. So he is running Scruffy and Friends. Scruffy Friends. All right, so looks like he's going to. We have Moss's Vault. We have Hasty Exit, Into the Garbage Chute, and Hold Out Blaster. Into the Garbage Chute or Hasty Exit are online to be removed by Friends in Low Places, but we know he's got the Moss's Vault. I would be very surprised if Brendan does not play the Moss's Vault by the end of this game. All right, so Joe getting rid of the Hasty Exit, because Hasty Exit is a 0-cost removal for Sabine eEzra. They are so fast, it's almost guaranteed you're going to have the battlefield throughout the game. Very rarely do you not end up with the battlefield. So, yeah, removing that free removal is going to really put a kink in Brendan's plans, I think. We get an eEzra activation, but Brendan still does have Into the Garbage Chute to be able to remove 2 big damage sides if need be. The Fang Fighter is definitely one of those dice that you would like to remove with Into the Garbage Chute, but the eEzra die or the Rookie Pilot die, not always what you're looking to remove. Brendan is going to pay the 3 to get the DL-44 back. I believe it was still his only ambush upgrade in his discard pile. So he is going to get the ambush. He's going to get that back out. Unfortunately, if he rolls a paid side on the DL-44, he is not going to be able to pay for it right now. But then again, he can always... Oh, my goodness. Oh, man, in the last game, I laughed so hard when Sabine just rolled all the damage in the world. And I really... Yeah, okay, I'll laugh a little bit. Sabine, this is what Sabine does. These are the Sabine things. There are the Sabine times when you roll out and you just roll the nut roll and you just get all the damage and you just wipe out a character before your opponent can even look at it. And then there are the times when she rolls 3 blanks. This is a dice and card game, so you're looking for the cards and you're looking for those dice to roll what you need. Sabine did get her 3 side, it looks like, and it gets flanked. Yep. He decides to take 2 resources. So building up his board state this turn, he knows he's got that second chance on Sabine already, so basically negates all that damage on there, +1, so 12 damage needed to kill Sabine right now. So she is at more than full health. Now, one thing that Joe could do is he could technically vandalize that second chance, and that would be so wicked good. That would be amazing. Oh, I don't know if he runs vandalize though, so that'll be something we'll have to wait and see if he's able to do. Because if it was me, I mean, vandalize, removing 3 of your dice, that's 5 damage, right? Getting rid of second chance, that's 5 damage. Now, he does still have another one in there somewhere, so we got to be careful about that. So we see eYoda on a special and a disrupt, and then eEzra on a 1 range. We have a readied, rallied, and a Fang Fighter waiting to be resolved. So let's see what he decides to do. Brendan not having a ton left. He does have the resources, though, so he can into the garbage chute. So Joe is probably going to be trying to play around that. But he knows if he turns some stuff, so he takes a resource and turns to the special, and okay, so he special chains to steal the resources. So Brendan is down to 1 resource. Again, I think he's going to try to into the garbage chute, and then I think he's also going to try to... Okay, so he does do it just to remove 1. I believe it was the 3 side on the Fang Fighter. Joe knows the into the garbage chute is coming, so he's not going to roll out both of his... he's not going to roll out 2 dice that can potentially hit damage. He's going to roll 1 out, resolve it, roll a second one out, resolve it. He's going to try to make into the garbage chute as least effective as possible. So then Brendan claims, get the resource back, and draws a card. So Joe gets to play solitaire for a while, as they say in the game. Brendan decides which die to do. He chooses the field medic again. That's the second time he's picked the field medic on a rally aid. Brendan, you're a good picker. I'm not gonna lie. I'm guessing the last one. Oh, it was a second rally aid. So he was kind of happy either way. He was gonna get both of those things out, no matter what. He had the resources to do it. So we had the field medic and the rally aids. Obviously, if he could rally aid the rally aid and then rally aid the field medic, that would have been a little bit better, saved him 1 resource. But he's got 5. I don't think he has too much to complain about right now. Brendan moving into the next round, having 3 resources, so he's got the shenanigans online that he could do. I definitely think Brendan still tries to knock out a character this round. He may have to switch to the rookie pilot again, like he did in the first game. Let's go ahead and see what he decides to do for his first action. Looks like he did discard the holdout blaster at the end of the round. Or no, he might have discarded it to re-roll or re-roll 0 or something. Either way, he's got a holdout blaster in his discard pile. Alright, so he looks through Joe's discard pile to see what he may have in there. Now, one of the only issues that I could possibly see is that the holdout blaster and the DL44 both have pay sides. If you happen to roll both those pay sides after not overriding, then you could be in big trouble. So, preemptively, he may be rolling out eEzra. eEzra rolling, that's kind of what you want to see. You want to see the resource stealing? Alright, so Joe overconfidencing both of the eEzra dice. Hitting the special in the 1 range. Oh, man. Getting that special off the board. I mean, it did cost Joe a resource, but unfortunately, Brendan did not end up with a positive resource, so he's probably still a little bit worried about that holdout blaster and the pay sides. Yep, and that is the only ambush blaster that he has. He's going ahead and checking his discard pile. Joe, however, on the other side with rally aids and a couple of resources still. He played a holdout blaster on eEzra and still has 2 resources and has 2 rally aids. If he has vehicles in his hands, he's got 6 resources on his hands. All right, so we do overwrite the X8 sniper. I think okay. So yeah, we overwrite the DL44 for the X8 sniper, which has ambush. I'm not sure if he did that from a discard pile or not. I don't think he did. I could be wrong though. Looks like he did hit the 3 range side. He's got a resource on the X8 sniper and a blank on the Sabine. So he can always focus the X8 sniper by spending a resource, which would not be a bad thing to do. If he could do that, there's very good potential that he could knock out eEzra this round. So he's going to do the 4. Joe's going to swap out the 1 range damage sides to a 3 range. Oh, sorry, not a range damage side. He's removing the damage sides to place the 3 on there. Keeping track of how much damage is there is good. He rally aids an R2-D2. R2-D2 gets out there. I think Joe's happy with an R2-D2. R2-D2 does some pretty good work. No blank sides. Only costs 1. It's a very impressive card. Alright, so I think we took an extra resource. Oh, we rally aid a Y-Wing. Y-Wing is going to be massive. And we're going to discard a Hidden Blaster to re-roll. Ooh, we get the Disrupt. Unfortunately, needed that a little while ago. A day late and $3 short. But we do have the hyperspace jump. Sure enough, yes. That's exactly what you want to do, Brendan. You want a hyperspace jump. Jump out of there as quick as you can. Joe does have a very advanced board state right now, which is really unfortunate for Brendan. He's got a whole lot in there. I know Brendan's got a second hyperspace jump in there somewhere, but it's going to be rough. You've only got 1 more of those tricks up your sleeve, so you're going to have to very carefully decide when to do that. Honestly, Joe only had 1 more card in his hand. Brendan could have waited just a little bit. I think we still have not seen Maz's Vault come out, so that's going to be interesting. All right, so we see the bracket come out in the bottom left, and it looks like at this point Mike Gem was confirmed that he had moved on to the top 4. So once we finish the best of 3 here between Brendan and Joe, we'll know the second bracket, at least one of the players. In remembering, I believe that oh man, I forgot some of the names of the other players who end up going into the next round. So I do know that Mads Utson. Ooh, sorry if I butchered your name, buddy. I've heard it so many times and it just left me. Mads is going to be going into the top 4 and playing the winner of this match. And let's see how it's going on. Ooh. Okay, so we're going to steal some resources. He steals the last resources away from Joe. Joe rolls in. Amazingly enough, a fairly good board state that he is keeping there. He's got 3 upgrades on eEzra. He's got a Force Illusion on eYoda. He's got a Rookie Pilot that's empty. He's got eYoda, a Y-Wing, and a Fang Fighter out, and yet they are all very clearly placed and in very good proximity of each other. So I'm very impressed, Joe. Good job in keeping a clean board state. Brendan, obviously, it's a little easier for him not running supports and just running the 2 characters. It is a little bit easier. I have heard in a lot of cases that when you're running vehicle decks, it is a brain-taxing event, especially when you're playing this high level of play that we've seen these players demonstrate. And then on top of that, playing for so long each day. If I remember right, they ended up going for 6 rounds today, if you're including the top cut. So, I mean, the top players end up playing for hours and hours together, especially because during these best of 3s, these are 1.5 hour long blocks that these battles take place in. And then I know for the final, it's a 2-hour allowance for time. They really don't want the world champion to win on time. They really want them to win by actually defeating their opponent one way or another. So they give them plenty of time for the world champion. Because can you imagine at the world championship just it going to time and having to figure out what that was and what that meant? Ooh, that would not feel good, right? I tell you what, a lot of times when things go to time, I'm like, ooh, I'd really just want to let people just play another round so they can get out there. And Sabine, rolling out the Sabine things. That is a full damage. Oh my goodness. I think that's 12 damage. Oh man, it's just a little bit blurry on my screen, but I think that we are showing 12 damage, and we have the ambush action, and he does have the resources to pay for it. He is going to knock somebody down right now. Unfortunately, eYoda does have the Force Illusion, so he can't kill eYoda. But he could kill the Rookie Pilot. Ooh, could he kill both of them? I don't think he can kill. Oh man, and eZra's got that Force Illusion, so it's gonna take 3 dice to kill eZra for sure. And not only that, but eZra has already activated and resolved most of his dice. So I think you go for Yoda. Personally, I think you try to kill Yoda. But he could also just knock out the Rookie Pilot right now. Just be done with it. Rookie Pilot does have the ability to reroll one of the vehicle dice that you have in play, so that could be an issue that you might have to deal with. Either way, you're going to have some damage that ends up being mitigated or wasted. So he does kill the Rookie Pilot, knocked him out of the game. No more Rookie Pilot, no more Derpy Pilot. And then he does have the 3 damage that he can put through onto Yoda on the Force Illusion or onto the eZra for the Force Illusion. But knocking off a Force Illusion is something that has to be done no matter what. You'd rather do it with 1 range damage if you can. But at the same time, so he is going to resolve that last 3 range damage. And he's going to do it to eZra, I believe. And I think Joe's going to take it all in the Force Illusion. He wants that eZra not anywhere close to being knocked out. So, okay. Caution, a T-47, and just really quick, I think the other one was another support there. So, a little bit of a problem there, but not necessarily a horrible one. Rolls out and gets the special on the Y-wing. Not bad at all. Not a whole lot of mitigation that can get rid of that. So we do see him he do the 4 damage on characters. Sure enough, Brendan puts 4 of it on eZra. He is fine losing eZra at this point, I believe. I think Ezra's done a lot of work for him. He's not too concerned about him. And for spotting yellow characters, Sabine is yellow too, so he can lose eZra and still do just fine in the game. eZra is definitely a support character here. We're going to rally aid. He chooses the far left, DH-17, puts the DH-17 on Yoda, who has not rolled out yet. So, thinking ahead. Alright, probably thinking about rallying aid again. I think I see another T-47 airspeeder out there. T-47 in his hand. So, he did have to discard one from the Force Illusion, but then he's got another one in his hand. I really struggle sometimes with Force Illusion because Force Illusion discards the cards that are in your deck, and you need your deck to live. And so many times I end up discarding the really good cards that I needed. What I have found, though, is that most people end up using the Force Illusion later in the game, where most of your good cards that you wanted you've already seen. Or if you haven't seen those good cards, get rid of your Force Illusion. So there are ways to play it correctly. I just seem to always kind of mess it up. Alright, we get a free T-47 airspeeder. Alright, so we've got 1 card that we can discard with. But we do have both Yoda dice out, so he could special into the double focus on Yoda so that he could turn more than just one of his dice. But I think he's got a lot of dice he wants to turn, so he's probably going to end up discarding to reroll once. That'd be my guess. Yep, I see a discard to reroll happening soon. He's going to leave the Yoda special and the Holdout Blaster 1 range. So we see a +2 on the DH-17, which is exactly the side you want to see. 1 melee on the R2-D2. We see another Yoda special, a special on the airspeeder, and a blank on the Fang Fighter. But you know what? That is a lot of damage that's going to be coming through in just a minute here. We're going to see a focus to the 3 on the Fang Fighter, a 2 on the T-47. Yep, and that's going to be just 7 damage right there. And he's going to be able to split it up a little bit too. He can even kill the eZra and still do an additional 4 to Sabine. So we're going to see some major stuff coming through in just a minute here. Doesn't look like Brendan has claimed yet, so he may have the ability to do something. So we do see the 3 range damage being used to knock out eZra. The 3 range showing right now. Another 1 to Sabine. So Sabine at the end of this is going to end up with a face full of damage. So we're going to get a shield and turn a die to the 2 range. He is trying to avoid some stuff. We see the other Yoda special for shield and to the 3 range. So we're getting pretty close here. So there's no easy pickings that he can do on that. He's going to hasty exit the 3. Okay, so we've just got an additional 2 coming through onto Sabine. And then Brendan still has the ability to claim, get a resource, and draw a card. Outer Rim Outpost just being such a good battlefield to use. So we've got 7 damage on Sabine, but she does have the second chance. So in all actuality, she is at 2 damage. So we still got to do 9 damage to Sabine to knock her out of the game with that second chance in there. So he is going to discard the Holdout Blaster. He's going to discard the Truce. Probably going to discard the Vandalize. Although it would be good on the Force Illusion. I guess it would get technically 3 damage from the Force Illusion. You'd be able to knock out 3 damage, but really don't want to. Now, Brennan is going to have a choice here. He can either overwrite one of his X8 snipers with the Holdout Blaster or Hidden Blaster, I think, that he has in there. It looks like he's got another X8 as well. So he could overwrite the X8 with another X8 or with a Hidden Blaster to remove one of the shields. But the X8 just has its really powerful ability, and he's got 4 resources to be able to pay for that ability. I really think he's just going to overwrite the X8 with X8. You don't want to overwrite your second chance, although he could overwrite the X8 on top of the DL44 for free. And the reason you would want to do that is to be able to get the focus ability out of the X8 sniper, which is not a bad ability, I gotta say. Now, he does have to make the decision if he wants to wait and see if Joe's going to roll out something first that he may want to mitigate, but to be honest, I think you just activate and see if you can get out there and knock another character out of the game. Sabine doing the Sabine things. We've seen Sabine roll nothing but blanks this game, and we've seen Sabine roll nothing but damage this game. He does overwrite with the Hidden Blaster instead of the X8, so he is able to remove his shield. He removes it from eEzra. If he can just get 2 damage sides on those dice, as long as they're not modifiers, he's going to be in good shape. I think I would have gone X8 over X8 because you can do the damage anyway, and there's going to be a little bit wasted. Alright, we see only 1 die rolling damage. Should he resolve it now? I'm tempted to say yes. You really don't want to get hit by removal like pinned down or you don't want any removal. Let's just be honest here. Especially with so many 3s that you have on your dice, it might be advantageous to resolve them before you get another one. So he does get the 3 more damage onto eEzra. Now, interestingly, so he's going to Scruffy. Uh-oh. What did he say? Did he say upgrade or event? I'm guessing he said event. So we see Impersonate, which is useless. We see a Hyperspace Jump, which is going to be useless here. And then we see an Entangle and Never Tell Me the Odds. So Never Tell Me the Odds could come in super clutch right now. You know what I might do? You could Never Tell Me the Odds, but you don't know if your opponent's going to have easy pickings. So you might want to play around that just a little bit. So he did ask if you wanted him to re-roll it. It did end up hitting a die somewhere, but he decided not to. So the 1 damage is all he needed to show. So Joe had to go ahead and pin that down and remove one of his dice. So the Hidden Blaster being able to do the 1 damage by overriding it and getting rid of the shield on eEzra. So still did a damage, not a complete waste of the card or the die. So still getting some value. I think that's really nice to be able to get that value. He does discard Never Tell Me the Odds to re-roll, and he gets some damage on the second pin down. Oh, I'll tell you what, removal is such a pain in this game, especially when your opponent has so much removal and so many resources. Discards Entangle to re-roll. Sabine gets nada. Does not get the damage. He just needs either of the 2 damage sides. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's 6 damage. And he has the money to pay for it. I don't know if Brendan has... So he is going to remove the Hidden Blaster, not overwrite, for a second chance. So he's got 2 second chances. Or a 3rd chance. I guess you could say it's a 3rd chance. We roll out, we get the, oh my goodness, the Y-Wing special. He is getting the damage. And unfortunately, Brendan is out of cards. There is absolutely nothing else he can do. So he gets the second chance popped with the Y-Wing special. We still got 2 Rally Aids. We still got Fang Fighters. We still got Yoda, who has yet to roll out. We see the T-47 come out there. If he rolls some damage there, it's going to be in good shape. All right, so we get 2 shields, a shield on each of those dice. We roll out the Fang Fighter, and get the 2 or the 3. I'm really having trouble right now reading those damage sides, but he's got damage, and I think that it's getting close. It's getting real close to lethal. And no, I'm not speaking with a lisp, and I'm not talking about the Sound of Music. I'm not saying lethal. I'm saying lethal. Get it right. All right, so we turn to some damage sides, and that's it. We got so much damage on Joe's side of the board. Congratulations to Joe for winning this thing. And we'll catch you guys next time on Chance Cube coverage of the 2018 World Championship for Star Wars Destiny.